Marvel Rivals plans to add at least one map every single season. But what could be the next one? Let's have a look. For the first ever season, Marvel Rivals went all in, with 4 new heroes and 3 new maps. 2 of those heroes and 2 of those maps were released at the start of the season. The rest will be following in mid-season. But when it comes to the next map, we know what that is going to be. It's going to be Central Park, another subset of that big Empire of the Eternal Night, New York. Now, in this video, I want to look beyond that. I want to look at what we can expect for Season 2, Season 3. See, while they will not be releasing that same amount of content every season, we can expect at least 1 new map every 3 months. Now, currently there's a lot of rumors going around of what the next, 20 heroes could be. There's also an ongoing story throughout these seasons. Plenty of stuff to go off on to make an educated guess, so that's what we're going to do. The thing is, there are a lot of options, hundreds of locations. So I'm going to make this into a series of videos that I keep updating on a regular basis. But anyways, let's start out with part 1 and look at the first 5 locations that I think could be a map very soon. Now, number 5 is not tied into one of those future heroes, nor is it actually tied into the story. At least not yet. But it is the home for one of the heroes that is currently on the roster, Atlantis, the home for Namor. It would of course be an underwater map, which comes with a few challenges. Fighting underwater is not ideal, but luckily there are ways around that. You just build a city, a structure, and you just fight in there. Problem solved. And you know what's even better? All that water around you could make the map even more interesting, because dynamic maps seem to be a thing for Marvel Rivals. I think it is something that we can expect to see a lot in the coming seasons. And much like you can anger the gods of Wakanda, and as Hydra is trying to lock down their base, water could be a nice way of changing the circumstances in which all of your heroes are fighting mid-match. But above all, guys, I think this would be a very beautiful map to play on. I can already imagine just a school of whale swimming over. Colorful corals everywhere, waterfalls. They could add that little diver, like they always put at the bottom of a fish tank, with a little treasure chest that flips open occasionally. Yeah, never mind. That was a bad idea. But the whales are cool. The next map is actually tied into the ongoing story. Very hard. It also was the home of Namor in some alternate universe. Castle Doom in Doomstadt, the home of Dr. Doom. Yeah, they weren't really being very creative with their names back in the day. To be fair, that castle used to be called Castle Sabbath and owned by Baron Sabbath. So yeah, we're going down that same road again. Never mind. But look, a nice gothic castle owned by the main villain that we're facing right now. They could pack this map with so much lore. And on top of that, because it's an old castle, they could do all of these secret passages. They have those in castles. I live in Europe. I've seen plenty of castles. They use those passages because they didn't want to see their staff. Kind of rude. And on top of that, the lord of the castle usually had other motives to use those passages. I'm not going to elaborate on that. But it would make an awesome gameplay feature. And something very different, a gothic castle on a mountain overlooking a small Eastern European village. I would sign up for that. However, I would not sign up for the next one, the Raft. The Raft is basically the Arkham Asylum of the Marvel Universe, a place where they keep all of their most dangerous villains. Now, in the comics, it's operated by S.H.I.E.L.D., so it could be a nice counter to the Hydra map. Now, in the MCU, it's actually a completely submerged base, somewhere in the East River, and it's actually run by the US government, well, by Tejas Ross. But I think in this case, for Marvel Rivals, they might opt for the comic version, which is basically a huge structure built on a rock somewhere in the East River, much like Alcatraz outside of San Francisco. And they call that one the Rock. This one, they call the Raft. See what I said about the names? Anyways, but can you imagine running down that map? It could be an escort map where you have to escort a high-profile villain that someone wants to get out of there to fit their plan, and the other team actually wants to keep imprisoned. And as you move forward, you'll kind of pass all of these cells where some of the most iconic creatures, villains, superhumans are all hidden. Oh, that would be an exciting map. And the next one has a very different vibe. Kun-Lun, the Lost City, one of the 7 capitals of heaven. The place where Iron Fist gets his abilities. Because Iron Fist is the protector of Kun-Lun. It is set in the mountains of Tibet, but it is actually within a pocket dimension. And a rift was created between that pocket dimension and Earth because of a spacecraft that crashed there 1,000,000 years ago. Now, that pocket dimension was the home of some plant-based species that are not happy that the city is there, and Shulao, the immortal dragon. That is the dragon that every Iron Fist has to defeat to get their powers. There have been 66 Iron Fists up till now. In other words, this place is drenched in Iron Fist lore. It has a very unique backstory, and the aesthetics have this ancient Chinese feel to them. It would make a great location, one that we might be getting soon. Now, the last one on my list is tied into a lot of these rumors that I was talking about earlier. Now, as I said before, I do not address leaks. But let me just say that a lot of mutants and specifically X-Men are included in all of these lists. Now, what I'm thinking is that at some point we'll get another super season where they release a bigger amount of heroes. A whole bundle of the same heroes. Much like they did with the Fantastic Four, we might get an X-Men bundle. And that group of heroes would also have a map attached to it, a location that is very important to that group. Now, for the Fantastic Four, that was Midtown and the Baxter Building. But for the X-Men, that is Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. And just like they have the option of showing off a lot of villains on the Raft, on this map they could show off future X-Men, future mutants, or at least show the rooms of all these mutants that we know. There's the Danger Cave, the Danger Room, Cerebra Chamber, and yeah, the huge hangar where they keep that iconic Blackbird. Oh man. That would make such a great location. With all due respect for all of the Avenger buildings and Baxter Building, I think Xavier's Mansion is one of the most iconic places in all of the Marvel Universe. Let's hope they add that one soon. But anyways, that was the first part of my list. Let me know in the comments what you would add to this list. For now, however, that was it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my members. I could not make these videos without you guys. You too can become part of the family by becoming a member right here on YouTube. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, make sure to subscribe because I'll be back with a new video very soon. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.